Welcome back to another episode of Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot. We'll be right back with Dan, but first let's hear from our podcast sponsors. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. You can find out more about what Hometown Ticketing can do for you and your school by going to hometownticketing.com and talk to their experts. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive for their support. You know, it's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic department, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every single year. To have the ultimate game day experience for your athletes, go to sidelineinteractive.com or call them at 832-786-0302. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com and see exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments by going to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You can also call them at 614-981-3589 or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. Bring your school's legacy to life and go to sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. But Final Forms is more than just forms. Final Forms is a team, it's technology, and they provide schools with compliance, communication, and risk management solutions. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with mobile accessibility, and it has reminders for parents about policies and physicals and all the forms that go with having an athlete in the house. Final Forms can also help with team communication and attendance and even certification management for coaches. And for ADs, Final Forms can help with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. And it does this with secure language translation and ADA compliance. You know, it's time for you to talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps, find out what Final Forms can do for you, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to become part of the Final Forms team. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. Over 200,000 teams use Huddle to help their teams play better using video and analytics. Huddle is the complete performance platform. They have online tools, smart cameras like the Huddle Focus. They've always had analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle is also built for every level of play, from club and youth teams all the way through high school and college programs. And even the pros use Huddle to help their teams perform at the highest level. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including your student athletes and the coaches of the teams you're trying to get to recruit them. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and your program and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack allow you to collect comprehensive data that helps you evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack also gives the 95% of the players and the parents who really love your program a voice, and it helps them tell you how important that a quality athletic experience is for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466, or you can email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Go to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack and let them show you how to take your athletic program from good to great. Welcome back, everyone, to Team Building Tips on the Educational AD Podcast. This is episode number 6, and every Thursday, Dan Talbot, certified master athletic administrator and the director of athletics for the Polk County school system in Florida, joins us and shares some wisdom. So, Dan, what do you have for us on episode number 6?
Well, this is kind of a big, it's weird, and this one's going to be a little bit weird, but I think if you bear through me on this one, you'll see my logic. And so when you're in a big district like ours, unfortunately, athletic directors have feelings, and when you're at a school-based athletic director, your coaches have feelings about each other, and it's positive or negative. There's a lot of jealousy within a district my size, that this school gets whatever they want. Like in Polk County, you have the east side neglect. In Manatee County, you have north of the river neglect. Everyone thinks that every other school gets and has everything else, and that always causes issues, I think, amongst, take the district side of it. You're trying to get, like, I'm trying to get 17 people to go in one direction, all together, which is very difficult and challenging. But it also is challenging when people have, misconceptions about a school or misconceptions about people, and they tend to judge and prejudge. I mean, let's face it. Guys have more drama than girls, and I've ever seen it in the world of athletics like you can't believe. The man drama is at an all-time high, which is absolutely hilarious among schools. But one thing we try to do when we meet as a county is come dressed plain clothes, because people have to get to know you as a person. And I don't want people to judge the logo on your polo before they judge you. And if you think about that, and I don't know how many district ADs are watching, but you can also relate that to school-based athletic directors. When you're meeting with your coaching staffs, you have programs on your campus that could be nationally recognized, could be better than the others. They probably, because let's face it, Under Armour, Nike, Adidas, Russell, all these major competitor programs, they're coming in and they're targeting specific programs in your school. So you got to be careful if you're not signing an all school deal, which is, I would recommend, because you want the golf team or the cross country team to benefit from the success of your boys basketball team or your girls basketball team or whatever program that you have. But if you have a deal where individual sports are making their own deals, these coaches are coming in with, the latest and greatest, like right now. It's funny. Every football coach wants a basketball player on their uniform, right now, which always surprises me. But it's a great line. I understand it. The kids love it, but if coaches walk in and they got the latest, greatest gear and swag on, and you got all these other coaches that are just struggling to get through the year and provide, that can cause, some misconceptions and jealousy. So if you're meeting as an athletic, try to just meet in plain street clothes, because people will judge each other for who they are and not whether they're the football coach or he's that coach, because there's a lot of stereotypical, and people have to do a better job of getting to know each other as people. We tend to judge people by what school they're at, what district they work for. You can ask anybody in the state of Florida. They always make fun of Polk County. They say, we're, kind of rednecky and, this and that. And, a couple ADs would, play the banjo and when they come to Polk County. But I'm a firm believer that Polk County, our school district, and the way my relationship with our school district and our school board and our superintendent, that we are doing things right in Polk County as far as how we treat our coaches, how we treat our athletic administrators. I sit in meetings with other county athletic directors, and I try not to say much because I really don't want them to lead on to everything that's going on here and how I'm treated. And because, every county is different in the state of Florida. I mean, it's like we're all in our own little world, but we do a great job communicating with each other, and we do spend a lot of time with each other. So you got to think of different ways, because whether you're a district AD, you got to bring them all together. Whether you're an athletic director of school, you have to bring all your coaches together, because they have to support each other. And whether it's the basketball coach doing parking at the football game or selling tickets, or because let's face it, we need our coaching staffs. I need my athletic director, because the volunteers that we've used to have in our programs are slowly dwindling, just like officials are. And the rise of everything else is increasing and putting more stress on us. So you got to find a way to bring people together, and simply not wearing your school shirt to a meeting, or not wearing, I'm the football coach and I get whatever I want. Cause that is because I'll tell you this, in our county, the football coaches are the biggest babies I've ever seen in my life. I mean, if something happens, it's like the end has drawn near. And then you got these other coaches that, a football coach couldn't last one day, as a cross country coach, being out in the heat and running 24/7, because football coaches don't usually give up their Saturdays, where like, the track and field coaches, I mean, they, we did one of our district meets on Friday, and you should have seen the coach's face. I get my first Saturday off in 2 months. I mean, they were just ecstatic with them. So you got to think of unique ways to bring your team together, and so they can support one another, because we are our biggest supporters. And it's that old saying that every coach says, oh, I support multi-sport athletes. I'm a proponent of, I want all my kids to play other sports. Well, as an athletic director, at the end of the season, take out rosters and start actually checking off how many student athletes actually play more than one sport. Because you can preach that you support it, but if you got a roster of 100 athletes and 2 are playing other sports, do you really support it? Words say one thing, actions prove another. But think of little ways to bring people together, to get to know each other as people. And that's one thing we try to do in this district, is get to know each other from who you are and not school that you're at. Because unfortunately, we got a brand new superintendent, and he found out really quickly, you don't walk into another school with your rival's polo on. He found that out really quick, because we are competitive by nature. But my life is a lot easier when I have athletic directors communicating with each other and not communicating with me all the time and running interference. And in the same way as a school-based athletic director, you want your coaches helping each other out. You want, your football coaches in the stands at basketball games or baseball games, or, in the football coaching staff, usually the large, you want them at track meets, measuring the high jump, measuring the long jump, being a part, because it should be all our athletes. And I think just little ways to, simple little things to get your team to get to know each other as people. And you got to do that by spending time with each other and getting to know each other as people. And maybe you bring them in for a meeting and don't really talk about the job, but just talk about what motivates them. I learned more about coaching football from reading books about and going visiting University of Women's Tennessee basketball. I mean, it's amazing what you can learn if other coaches go visit other coaches' practices and support them. Because at the end of the day, it's all about student athletes, and that's why we're here and what we do.
Well, you touched on so many triggers for me, as a coach and as an AD. I love your suggestion about, just coming in regular clothes rather than the polos. I still remember I'd just taken over as a head football coach and AD at a job, and trying to buy swag for all the teams and make the coaches and the kids feel good. And one of my assistants said, hey, these jackets, these football jackets are really nice. Can we get one in blue? Because our colors are red and blue. And I go, are you crazy? We've got, 10 other teams here. Okay. You're right. And I'm a football coach. Football coach can be the biggest babies out there. Um,
Oh, I know. I'm the shirt guy in our district, and like, I mean, everybody want, because I want my brand out there, and so I hand out Polk County athletic shirts like they're candy to, and the original design was to, because athletic departments are one of the few, and people don't realize this, and that's going to be my topic for next week. So I won't spoil next week's, but there's things you can do, because you got to understand, as an athletic department, you rely on so many other departments to make your department successful, and that's what I'm going to cover next week.
yeah. No, and again, the whole idea of team building, we have our coaches meetings, whether it's year end or monthly or whatever. But, for me, the best coaches meetings were the ones I did probably in my last 3 years as an AD, had very little to do with coaching. We took the entire head coaching staff and a bunch of assistants to an escape room, and we put them on teams. We made them work with each other and just doing stuff like that, bowling coaches meeting. Geez, are we going to talk about eligibility? We're going to talk about this? Not, forget about that. I'll send you an email. Just
well, and realize how many people out there with the escape rooms. If you said, hey, I'd love to bring my coaches to the escape room, and in return, we'll put your banner up at our stadium and our gym.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta be creative. But yeah, I mean, because I would love to see some of our women's basketball coach working with the football coach. I'd love to see some ADs work with each other, try to get out of room, because it's going to be interesting. And then you also find out too, when you, like you said, Jake, when you do that up, you kind of find out who the leader is within the group.
Yep.
And so if you're going to want to make changes to things, then you got a kind of idea. You can run it by the leader within the group, saying, hey, I'm thinking about this. Then he's going to kind of run interference with the other ones. But if you get that one to buy in, then you got 6 more already bought in because of that group. But it's like you said, it's knowing the dynamics of your team and trying to get them to come together as one.
I'll tell one quick story. When we did that escape room, I was up in the control room and watching the different rooms, and our women's golf coach, we had a room of alpha men and women, including our football coach, and our women's golf coach, just in the nicest way, but with steel in her eye, she took over that room and just led that group. It was just very cool to see, and for me and for some of our other coaches too, to just see what a resource they had to seek out for leadership tips.
Well, and if I was in the room with you, well, you never thought the girls golf coach is going to take this thing over and lead and get them through it and get them out, and that goes back to just judging.
Yep.
Get to know people for who they are, but give them a chance to get to know each other for who they are in a real environment, in a setting where people feel comfortable to let down their guard.
Mm-hmm. No, very good stuff. Thanks as always, Dan. If one of our listeners wants to reach out, pick your brain, find out a little bit more about how you do things, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Best way for me is my cell phone, which I'll give it to you, is 863-661-0647. Again, that's 863-661-0647. Feel free to reach out anytime. And if I can't help you, I'll try to find someone that can.
Okay. If you're a first-time listener, we do this every single Thursday, team building tips with Dan Talbot. Go back and listen to some of the previous episodes if you've missed them, because they are full of nuggets that are going to be valuable resources for you as an athletic director. Dan, thanks again for sharing today, and all the best as the summer continues.
Thank you.
For our regular listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of every interview get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening. Don't forget to go visit our sponsors, and we'll see you next time on Team Building Tips on the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks again for listening to Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot. Very quickly, we want to thank our sponsors, Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. Remember, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com or call them at 614-981-3589. Huddle. At Huddle, we power sports. Huddle's the leader in video and analytics, but there's so much more. Mobile apps, smart cameras. Go to huddle.com for more information and turn your school into a Huddle school. Athletic surveys by LifeTrack allow you to collect data where you can evaluate and improve your entire program. Also connects you with your parents and your student athletes and lets them help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com or call them at 800-738-6466. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Hometown Ticketing is the leading digital ticketing provider. You can find out more by going to hometownticketing.com and talk to their experts. Also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration. Final Forms can help you with mobile accessibility for your parents, can help them with policies and physicals, can help with team communication, attendance, and certification management for coaches. Can also help you with eligibility and rosters and all the reports that you have to deal with. Go to finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. Also want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor scoring tables and video boards. They not only generate money for you, but they create the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or shoot them an email at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. And also, we want to thank our newest sponsor, Gipper. Go to gipper.com to find out what they can do for you with branding and content for your athletic site. That's gipper.com. Thanks as always for tuning in to the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time on Team Building Tips with Dan Talbot.